Welcome to Cax Bar and Podcast, Canada's first podcast bar. What that means is you can come here for food, you can come here for drinks, you can also come here and record a podcast. Come on down, we're located in downtown Calgary, Alberta in the Beltline area. See you soon. All right, and we're rolling. I'm here today with Melvin. Melvin is an entrepreneur, I guess you could say, right?
I guess you can say that too. Yeah.
Okay, so he did an event here at CAX. It was called the Jam App Social.
Yes.
Okay. Do you want to tell people what that is about?
Yeah, totally. So the Jam Social, it was our very first time hosting. So this is like the founding place of the event. Mm-hmm. And we had 30 to 50 people who came out. And the whole mission was, let's make friends and let's potentially meet the one. So it was a bunch of people who are new in the city, potentially students or recently moved. And they just came out looking to make new friends. And it was really fun. Mm-hmm. And I really enjoyed it. And everyone else enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, I noticed when you guys held the event here, it was all young people. Is it supposed to be for that age range, or it can be for anyone kind of?
Yeah, it was only 20 to 25. That was our first event.
Okay, I got
so
you.
We were testing out the age brackets to see, okay, where's the interest line?
Okay.
But we also do it for people 30 to 50 and and in the future maybe 50 plus.
Okay.
As well.
Hey man, that's awesome. So it's literally you literally set up social gatherings for people just to make friends and meet people.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Like with the goal of it to have people discuss business stuff too, was it strictly like, hey, come make friends?
Yeah, that was the part that really surprised me, is because a lot of people have never heard about the Jam Social. So we have to be really clear with the whole outline for it. So we said it's just to make friends and meet the one. That's all we said.
So it was a form of dating almost. It's almost like
no.
What do you mean by the one?
The one.
I can really mean your wife or husband or
partner. That could also be what it is, but it's all about the premise of making friends, and then you could potentially, if it goes that way, you can also meet somebody that you potentially like a lot too. Okay. But the whole goal is all about making friends and connecting people together.
That's awesome, man. And right now, like, by the way, what's your full name here, Melvin?
That's true, Melvin Adekanye.
Adekanye. So, okay, sick. Yeah, can you tell me a little bit about yourself? Like, give me your bio here. What's the Melvin origin story?
I always like this question. Well, I moved to Canada with my family back in 2013. Okay. And when I first moved here, I was under an impression that I was going to be a pilot. So my whole mindset was, okay, one day I'm going to be a pilot. I'm going to fly planes, and it's going to be really cool. And as I started to get into school a little bit more, what I realized was it was quite different than in Nigeria. Becoming a pilot had a lot more to it. And I noticed one of my friends in grade 6, I still remember this guy's name. He was on a laptop and he was showing me how to hack Google. And he was hacking Google in front of my eyes, and he was making it say funny things. And I was like, yo, how did you do that? And then I went home that night and I was like, okay, I want to know how to hack so I can show off at school. And then I go home and I'm looking up how to hack a website. And I've seen a bunch of tutorials. Some of them are garbage. Some of them none of them were useful. But then as I'm watching it, I came across this one, and it was like how to make your own website. And my mind was blown, because I was like, I don't even need to hack a website. I can just make my own. And that was when I started this journey of like, okay, maybe developing websites, developing apps could potentially be for me. And it changed from being a pilot to just taking off in a different direction, if I could say that. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I mean, both those career options are awesome. Whether you're a pilot or computer programmer, essentially, right?
That's true.
Okay, so you basically fell in love with doing that, or
I started programming like every night. Like I would come back from school, and all I would do would just make games or make websites. Yeah, and I just loved it. And I guess I was the nerdy kid back in school. Yeah, and it led me to this place where I was able to make an app.
Were you in Calgary from Nigeria right away, or was there somewhere else?
Okay. Straight to Calgary. Only Calgary.
How old are you again?
Right now, I'm 21, going on 22.
Young buck. Yeah. What high school did you go to then?
I went to Crescent Heights High School.
Crescent Heights. Okay, yeah. I'm totally familiar with Crescent Heights. Yeah.
It was such a nice experience, at least for me. Like I was into sports, so I could jump really high. So I did really well in high jump. Did track and field, but then after COVID hit, I kind of just stopped playing sports, and I I try to not talk too much about it because people are like, wait, that was you back then? Yeah.
Like, what do you mean? Like, as in,
Like,
you're
right
not as athletic anymore?
No, not as yeah. Especially now, I have sore backs now, so because sitting in the computer so long.
Yeah.
So
Terrible. Terrible for you, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Like your age range is Gen Z technically, right? Like,
I think so.
Or is it Gen? It's Gen Z. I'm pretty sure, right?
I have to look into it.
Okay. Yeah. Because well, either way, like, this is like I don't know. This like, the younger people are at a disadvantage from previous age groups, like, specifically because of the amount of lack of physical activity now, or because of, like, just so much technology and stuff like that now. So it's super important to like work out and move your body, not even just for looks, just for like health, because like we said, you have a back problem right now. I'm like, that doesn't make sense. You're 21, you're like supposed to be invincible right now.
That's so true. And yeah, like, it really comes back to haunt you. And also the thing with social media too, like, apart from the lack of like being able to go out and like do things in person, I think that social media, especially for me, like, gives an illusion of like connection. Because one of the things like I did that really made me realize this was I was doing one of the jam socials. So I was doing it, the second one we did, and I was like, let me just invite a bunch of people that are on my Instagram page. So I opened up my followers list and I just messaged every single one of them. And I found it so hard to like message these people because I haven't talked to them at all since high school. But yet I would see their posts all the time, and I sort of felt like, oh, like, I know this person, like, I see their posts all the time, but to message them and like ask them, it just felt so weird. And they probably thought it was weird too, because a lot of them didn't respond and a lot of them said no. So
I guess I can kind of see where you're coming from, because it's not like you're inviting people to specifically a party. It's not like you're saying let's meet at the club. This is specifically for people to talk, like, hey, how's it going? It's a social like environment, So when people are seeing you invite that, they're kind of I can see the confusion, because they're like, well, wait a minute, like, you want me just to show up to literally make friends? You know what I mean? Aren't I supposed to just kind of make friends because I'm going somewhere and I find people have common, like, you went to a concert and you made a friend at a concert, or like you went to a party and then you made a friend at a party, not you went to a place that's specifically so you can make friends.
Yes.
Yeah, like, it's kind of trippy, actually.
It really is.
Well, how'd you get how'd you get the courage to like look past that and not feel like silly or whatever,
Well, that's a whole different.
It's almost like asking someone out, except you asked everyone out.
Honestly, now that is very comparable. It's like doing it for multiple people and hoping one of them lands. But to be honest, I think I was still afraid while I was doing it. But I think in my back of my head, I was like, you know what? I'm afraid to do it, but I still have to do it anyway. Yeah. And I just had to do it, and I messaged it. And I remember as soon as I started getting replies, and I was like, oh, like, this kind of hurts a bit. But then it was like, okay, it is what it is. Move on, next person.
You mean the people saying, oh, I can't make it?
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. I think, especially with our generation, a lot of people have a hard time being like super upfront with you and being like, no.
Oh yeah.
But I'm glad that the people who messaged me back were like, no. And I think it's much easier when you aren't as close to them anymore. So it's much easier to be like, no.
The like these people, like, did they end up saying, some say like, no, man, and then they end up showing up to it? Because like there was a bit of a buzz or something, because you literally filled the room.
Yeah,
there was like 50 people in here, and there was someone playing music, I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, I was sitting there, I was like, hey man, good job. But I really didn't fully grasp the concept, because I'm not gonna lie, like, you were dealing more with my business partner to set it up, right? And then I got chimed in the last minute. I'm like, okay, cool, man. Like, yeah, let's see this.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Sorry, what did I ask you 2 seconds ago? Man, I completely lost my.
No, you were talking about like, how did I get the people to come out, and if people I messaged said no,
and did they show up anyway? Yeah.
Yeah, the thing was, a lot of the people who showed up were people that I didn't know personally before before the event.
Yeah.
So, like, a lot of people who showed up, I didn't know them before the event, and what ended up happening was people who were like new in the city, or like literally just coming out to make friends, actually showed up. And that was when it clicked for me, and I was like, wait a minute, like, I don't really need to like message people that I talked to like way back then. Like there are people who are looking for this and who want to come out.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And like you said too, the social event, just coming out and talking. What makes it a little bit different is with the Jam Social, we play this game called Jam Bingo. And how Jam Bingo works is we put up a QR code and everybody in the room downloads our Jam app. And then they scan this QR code. And then on their phone, they now have prompts. And the prompts are like, find somebody wearing the same shirt color as you. So now you have to like go around the room and like, hey, we have the same shirt color.
Yeah.
Or find somebody with the same shoe size, or find somebody who likes the same music as you. And then as you start doing these prompts, you start going around the room.
It breaks the ice.
It breaks the ice so well. And one of the prompts that I really liked that we did last time was challenge someone to a 1 minute plank. If they do it, then you can like connect with them. And I just loved it because everybody, I wasn't sure how people would react because it's kind of physical.
Yeah.
And then people were like making space. And there was this guy like just straight up like, he was going past a minute, and I was like, okay, you showed up.
Yeah. You're in shape, bro.
But you know what? Like, it breaks the ice so well, and it connects people. So,
I noticed there was a lot more dudes than girls. I'm not gonna lie. Like when it came down, like was that intentional, or because of who you were inviting, or was that just naturally how it unfolded?
Yeah, it was naturally how it unfolded. But you know what? I think the way we propose the event is make friends and meet the one.
Yeah.
And I think that when you have that meet the one, a lot of guys are like, okay, this could be the event for me. So it naturally shows up that way. But then when we did it the second time, we had more of a decent mix. But this is what I find so interesting is that when we do it for 18 to 29 year olds, there's quite of a mix. But when we do it for 30 to 50 year olds, there's actually majority girls. And that really surprised me because I was expecting it to just be the same translation upwards.
Right.
But maybe I'll have to research into why that is, but it was just very interesting.
Well, there's probably some observable like theories to that. I mean, like think about it. Like a lot of women who are older, if they're single now at that point for whatever, divorced, or maybe they have kids, but the kids have grown up a little bit, like they kind of like lost their social life, you know what I mean? So they're like, it's time to go make some friends, so I don't know. But then again, is that really just a woman thing? Could be a guy thing too. I don't know. It's probably both. Probably just that age range, I think. Because I don't know, you socialize less as you get older because you have responsibilities. So you have to make time to socialize instead of when you're younger. All the schooling is another form of socializing, because university, college, high school, first few years out of high school when people are trying to figure themselves out, like you're naturally going to go to bars and clubs and like hang out with larger groups of friends and hang out all the time, not just once every 2 weeks or 3 weeks or whatever.
That's so true. Yeah. And that was the biggest challenge. Like when we started this jam stuff, it was solving how can you make new friends and meet new people outside of school? Because especially for our generation, what typically happens is that people don't necessarily have like deep connections. They more or less have friends out of convenience. Because when you go to school, especially university, and you like in the same classroom as people, and maybe you sit beside this one person and you just naturally become quote unquote friends because you sit together. Yeah. And then you kind of go around thinking like you're surrounded by these people. But the moment you like leave that environment, the people who you once connected with are also like left behind too. And you find yourself in a position where you're alone. And that's why these events are so nice. Cause then it's like, you get to meet other people who are genuinely wanting to like connect and stuff. So,
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I never thought of it that way because, I'm 38, so I'm older than you, but at the same time, I mean, like, owning a bar, there's, like I interact with, like we had a server a couple months back, it was only like 20, 19. So it's like, I still meet a plethora of people, but you're right. Like, it seems like I've been hearing that a lot more, like that. There's like when they say mental health issues with the younger people, it's because like there is more of a loneliness factor because everything is so artificial with like the way everyone socializes now with social media and stuff. Because back in my day, it's like when you hung out with someone, there wasn't Instagram yet, or like you kind of had to like make it work, if you will. You don't meet that many people.
So now, but with apps and like dating apps and Tinder and this and that, like you're just inundated with online people, like the amount of liking and commenting, like it's so different. So you guys are definitely navigating like a newer thing, you know?
That's so true. Like, and it makes it even that much harder, especially when you move to a new place. Like, imagine if you were to move to, let's say, Toronto, and you didn't have any connections there. Like, how hard would it be to like make friends? Because I imagine maybe you have a job, and then you start working at your job, and maybe you meet your work friends, and then they're like, don't want anything to do with you after work, or maybe they're a bit nice. But then outside of that, maybe you go to like church or mosque, you go to different places to connect with people, or maybe you play basketball or sports, so that's how you connect. But there's like, like online, that's kind of it. And if you're not really already inundated with that, already established there, it becomes really hard to join some of those online communities.
Oh, hey, if you keep bumping that wire, just move it up, like like tuck it up more.
Okay.
Like that. Sweet. Or just pull it back a bit. Like that. Sweet. What was that? I have a point to make. I never really thought about that too hard, because when I made friends, it either naturally happened or I don't force it. You know, it's like it's just I don't know. You shouldn't have to try. You know what I mean? But you're right. But by making even the jam socials, people are all coming for a common reason. They want to make friends. So they're probably going to come with a different attitude and like make the effort to want to be there. You know what I mean? Like instead of saying like what you said a moment ago about friends for convenience,
That's
you know,
true.
I had this buddy in university, like, and I kind of lost touch with him now, but I'm sure if I called him up, he'd pick up the phone. But it's so funny. I was at University of Calgary. I was 18. I remember I was going to go to the gym and go shoot some hoops, because like I love doing those two things back. I still love doing those two things, but I remember I was like changing in the change room, and I just finished like lifting weights or whatever. And then like my buddy, like, like he walks up, he's like a bigger dude. And then he just like, he looks me up and down, and then he's like, hey, I've seen you before at this one party. And then I was like, oh, like I was a bit taken back. And then he's like, I don't know anyone here. Do you want to be my friend?
Oh,
like,
wow.
He literally said it like blunt like that, and like almost ogre, like, and I was sitting there, I was like, I looked at him and I was thinking in my head, I was like, okay, I was like, you know, like I'm feeling this too. And I'm like, yeah, let's be friends. And then like, it was weird. We like high five, and then we went and fucking played basketball for like 4 hours together. And then like, next, you know, like that was it. Every day, like he got my number, I'm texting him, calling him. And then like, I remember I was wasted one night and I asked him, I'm like, yo, like, is that how you always make friends? And then he's like, actually, no, like I actually was so lonely that he's like, I actually was just like, looked up like, how do you make friends? And I just tried that on you and it worked. But then I realized when I went home how weird that was. And he's like, now I just kind of let it. And I was like, oh, all right. And then like, but I remember it was so comical, man. Like he just like, I remember even seeing his face. It's like he was nervous, but he was almost like, hey, you want to be my friend? And then I was just the right guy, because I was like that nice. I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then turned out we had like a lot of things in common too. And some things not in common. But he was not. But what I mean by he was wanting to be friends was the things we didn't have in common. He's like, hey, because we're friends now, I will do a little bit of that to see if I can like a bit of it, and then you try something that I like or whatever. It was so comical, man. Like right out of a cheesy like preschool, like after school special, man.
That's awesome. You should definitely keep in touch with them.
Oh yeah, he's married now with kids, and he has a whole different life going now. So yeah.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know what? Like the whole friendship thing, it's so crazy. I also, because of this jam thing, I also made a friend at my first year of university, and we actually started it together. So he called, like I was doing my math homework, and he comes up to me and he's like, hey, Melvin, I have a problem. I'm like, yeah, whatever. What's your problem? And then he's like, yeah, I have this girl's Instagram, but I don't have her number. And I'm like, okay. So I throw away the homework and we start talking, and we're like, yo, like when you meet new people, sometimes it's super difficult to share all your contact info all at once. And then that's how we started working on it together. So it's kind of funny, like these friendship stories. But you know what? Like just looking over my experiences making friends, I find it super hard to do what what your friend did, like just go up to somebody and just be like, hey, do you want to be friends?
It was extra weird because I was in my underwear, because like I was in the gym, I was in a change room, right? And I've just finished working out. And I remember like I was like nice and pumped up, like I was like I remember looking in the mirror, like I'm like, damn, I'm ripped. And then like I think he saw me checking myself out or whatever. And then, but then he walked by and he was shirtless too because he just left the gym. So I think there was like some kind of bro thing where he's like, yo, you lift, I lift, like let's be
lift together,
But again, like timing, like I was literally in my underwear, so I was like, this could be a sexual advancement in which I'm like, I'm straight, but yeah, we can still hang. Oh man,
well, that's so funny.
Yeah, wow, it's pretty comical the more I think about it.
But okay, what has been like your worst experience with a friend, like in terms of like you were like, I cannot be friends with this person at all, and you had to like end it?
I've had so many falling outs, unfortunately. Wow. Yeah, the older I get, the more dialed in on what I know I want, and I just had to cut people out of my life that aren't serving the mission, if you will. And they felt the same way about me. So yeah, I've had best friends. I've had multiple friendships end completely, like, and we used to be best friends, but like no more, and I don't know, it was weird though. It was trippy. Like I'm not quite sure the whole friend thing is, and I'm not saying this in a negative way. I'm just saying people change so much that I don't know if you can truly have a lifetime friend. Like you might have a lifetime someone you've known, right? But like it, you're always in a different set of circumstances. And so I don't know. I'm not even saying that in a pessimistic way, because you always make new friends or new acquaintances. Why have you had do you even have any falling outs in your life, or almost everyone you've been friends with, you're still friends with?
Yeah, I just live a perfect life. So like, no, it's interesting. Part of the reasons why I asked is just like, I was trying to hear more of your story about how like you dealt with those falling outs, because those falling outs could be sometimes really hard too. Like one moment you're doing life, you're enjoying that friendship, and you're able to create fruitful things out of it, and then the next moment they're like gone, and it almost feels like there's like a void there. So I was just curious to hear more. But
those ones I wanted out, right? So that's different. Like, have I ever lost someone as a friend that the void? Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, yeah. No, I have. I don't know if you'll ever hear this, but like my old best friend, my bro, like I had this one buddy who was like we've done like anything for each other. I'm talking about like, hey man, like I gotta go fight this guy, like come have my back, and then I'm like, let's go, like crazy stuff like that. Or like, hey man, like I need you to hang on to this for me. And that thing could have got me in trouble. Like we went from that like to I can go to his house and make a sandwich to he changed so much that like it was just unrecognizable. And then one day he actually called me to literally be like, hey, so we're not going to talk anymore, because I just realized like our situation has changed so much. Like you're not the same guy, I'm not the same guy. And I remember, after he left, there was a void, because I was like, that was my dude that I called whenever about whatever, and he always picked up, and then he was gone. Yeah.
Wow. But that's
yeah.
And I think about that. That's really tough, because like trying to find a way to navigate that could also be really challenging. But what's really interesting too is that during those periods of like adapting and trying to find how to move on from that, like those moments are like super defining for you. Like when you talk about like you have a set of goals in your life that you're trying to hit, and then you're trying to find people who would help you hit those goals. Like
the goal anchors my move. Oh, excuse me. Yeah. Like the goal anchors my every move. Like my friends I make now are either affiliated with the goal, like my fiance is supportive of the goal, or like, but I'm like that too. Like I don't fit into their realm. Like that's what I mean by I wouldn't even necessarily say I have friends for the sake of having friends anymore per se, which is that a bad thing? I can't tell. I'm just too dialed in. Like I'm on a mission. Like I wake up every day like wanting to get after it. So, and it's all consuming what I'm trying to do. So I don't know. So maybe I'm a psychopath.
No, but you know what? It makes me curious to know like what your mission is and how you judge if this person is like gonna help you with that.
That's very interesting. You know, because like, am I just using them to help me? No, but we do stuff, and like I do care. Like I'll remember important dates, and when great things happen to them, I give them calls and say, "Hey, man, fucking big ups." You know what I mean? So I don't know. That's tough. I don't know. Maybe that's just. I don't know. I think maybe that's part of growing up in a weird way too. I can't tell yet. Why would you not be cool with that approach to socializing, if you will?
It's just interesting. Like for me, when I think about it, like inviting somebody into your life in order to achieve a goal, that in a way it's quite interesting, because for me, the way I see it is that it's totally makes sense. Like if you're trying to get a goal with the business, then you can invite like other people, and then it's very upfront and very clear. Like this is just professional and this is just business that you're trying to achieve. But then when I think about friends, I think about people who go beyond just achieving that goal, and people who can like support you in like the day-to-day matters.
I think that's where family comes in, because I'm super close with my family. At least, I mean, I haven't been able to hang out with them as much as I can ever since I opened this business. But like, I respect the shit out of my brother and sister, and like my mom and dad. Like, so I guess I always feel full with them no matter what, you know, like, and my fiance. So like, that's already the inner circle I need. Like, it's kind of funny because like the Jam Social, although I'm happy for you that you're doing it. And again, maybe in the future, we launch some of these at CAX again here, you know, if it makes sense. But I wouldn't go to that because that's not the way I'm wired. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I wouldn't be like, I need to go meet friends. Like, cause I'm just more like, I'm going to the gym, and now I keep seeing the same dude at the gym. Next thing you know it, we're kind of friends because he's asking me to be his friend when I'm in my underwear in the gym. You know, I don't know. I think it's super important to you to have like a core group of friends.
Oh, this is so, now that you've added the mix of family, I would agree with you. I think that your family, like there's a meme where it's like family.
Oh, the Fast and Furious memes.
But it is true. Like, I think your family, when you say it like that, I think your family does help you stay grounded and stay core. And then your friends, I guess when you get older, it becomes less important to have like a big circle and more important to have like a really small needed circle. But at least growing up, going through high school, going through university.
Well, I guess that's why people ultimately get married and have kids, right? Because they're trying to form that family. Like, I don't have any kids right now, but I don't know what my future holds either. Because but if I don't ever have kids, that is a thing I think about, where I'm like, well, then what's my family as I get older, right? Then it has to be friends, if you will, right? Close friends become your family. So I don't know, man. Hey, you got me thinking, you know, because I've just been so tunnel vision with running this business and podcasting and working out and like, you know, and hanging out with my girl, that I'm just like, yeah, maybe I should give this a thought. Because like, you meet those people that are just so obsessed with starting a family right away. I think it's because they think long game, right? Because they're probably thinking, they're like, well, you know, like I want to have my community at all times, so better make as many babies as I can and really get along with my girl, and you know.
But that's so interesting. And the other thing you mentioned too, like you won't be wired to go out to an event like that because you have that family, and it makes your life like full in that way. And I also thought the same way too until I moved for studies abroad. And when I was there, my family was still back home. So I had to, in a way, like integrate myself with the people I was with there. And it was really hard, like, because they spoke a different language. They like had different cultures, way of doing things. And I just couldn't find like a place where I can just like go to and be like, okay, this is going to be a place where I get to like integrate and meet people.
Yeah. So then you made it happen.
and that's exactly it. So then
in your life, so you made it in your life.
And you can say that.
Cool, man. Yeah.
And it's so interesting because now, like, when people who are international come, and I'm like, wow, I can relate to your story a bit more. Before then, I would have been like, well, couldn't you just like Yeah. But now I'm like, okay, this makes sense. Like you're looking for a way to connect and get yourself grounded
Hey,
in your city.
but that's you, which is like like people need people like you as well, because
Hmm.
like I've known of people like there's a couple friends of mine that are girls that were like they join social groups all the time because they're like I just want to make more friends, you know, like that's important to them to have friends and meet someone else who's kind, who maybe you guys have nothing in common, but it's just there because they want to see you do well, you want to see them do well, they enjoy your company, you enjoy their company, and they're willing to compromise and do stuff you like even though they don't have any interest. Like some people are like that, you know, and like that, and that's a beautiful thing, you know, because I think ultimately that is a healthier way of being, I think, you know, like but yeah, not sure, man.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
Mhm.
But let me ask you this. So when you achieve your goals and when you get to that point where it's like, okay, this is it, this is what I've been working for, then where does the role of friends for you come in?
Yeah, this sounds weird again, but the goal for me never ends though. It's going to be until I'm dead. It's more of a way of life, you know, like, have you heard of Jocko Willink?
No.
He's a Navy SEAL, like decorated Navy SEAL, retired Navy SEAL, but like, it's like, he calls it the path. It's like a warrior's path, if you will. And like that is what I'm on now. Like the path of never ending self-improvement. You know what I mean? Like I want to, like, there's no end for how much money I want to make. There's no end for how many businesses I want to open or try to make succeed. There's no end to how big I want my physique. There's no like I'm just obsessed with optimizing myself while I like the stuff that I like. But even the stuff that I like, I've noticed now there's a correlation with optimizing myself. Like it all ties together. Like I love superhero movies. And some people are like, oh, it's because you like superheroes. No, it's because I like superheroes. Like, could you imagine if that's a real person? Like, if there's really Captain America around, like Captain America can't stay stagnant. He just get better and better because the bad guys keep getting better and better, right? So, you know, because he had to get to a point where he had to fight Thanos,
Yeah.
you know, who's a god. Like, so there's no, you know, like there's no end to the goal. It's a path.
Wow.
You know, you just get up and I don't know. I feel like that's the way to go as well.
That's interesting. You know, that's really interesting because then you're constantly have to surround yourself with people who will continue to push you. So,
oh yeah, you find them. You feel inadequate, so you have to like. It also fires you up, you know. So yeah.
So how do you find those people?
What do you mean? Oh, how do I find them?
Yeah, or like how do you surround yourself?
It's the activity. Like for instance, like I love martial arts, right? So I was training at the old BDB gym, which is the precursor to the Champions Creed MMA, and then I was training at Cardinal MMA, a little bit of Knuckles. Did a little bit of boxing. Every time you step into those gyms, man, like it's like there's got someone in there that's better than you on your best day, no matter how hard you try. And like that's the game you play with yourself. You're like, hey, I'm not gonna be better than that guy, probably never, maybe, and like because he puts everything he has into this, but like I better be better than I was the other day. You know, like because otherwise I'm not progressing as a fighter. And then. Like, and it could be simple stuff like, I couldn't touch my toes last week. And then this week, can I touch my toes? Or like, now I'm a little bit more flexible. Like, it's like, this is the kind of stuff that consumes my mind, not needing to hang out with people, I guess, because I'm already hanging out with people 24/7 due to this job.
Totally.
They own a bar. So like, there's regulars now that, you know, sometimes they'll say, Shawn, we're friends. I'm like, we are friends. But at the same time, it's like, like but we're indirectly friends. Cause like, you're part of my business as a customer.
Yes. It's like the environment is bringing
the friend, I guess.
You know, this is so interesting. So then for you, like the way you live your life is all about like taking that next step.
Yeah.
So then how did you get to this point? Like, was there something in your life where you're like, okay, I'd never want to be there again, so I have to keep improving? Or like what motivates you to continue to push forward?
I think that's a really awesome question, by the way. And it makes complete sense. Like the more I think about it, cause I had a different approach when I was younger to life altogether. I remember I just wanted a job. I wanted a wife. I wanted kids. I wanted to just clock into whatever my job was, clock out, have my weekends with my friends, goof around, be silly, and just have no stress or whatever. Right. But deep down, I thought, like I realized now, I thought that way because I didn't believe in myself. you know, I was like, oh, I can't do something awesome, so why try, you know, like but then one day I did something awesome and I surprised the hell out of myself. And then from there it was like, and I felt like, I don't know how to explain it. Like I felt like a man, you know, like I felt like powerful. And then from there I was obsessed with that feeling. And then next thing you know, I'm like, hey, screw having just a regular job, screw having just regular money, screw having just like regular anything. I'm like, I'm going all the way now. Like, you know, I'm going to have so much abundance, you know, and that's my mission. Don't get me wrong, it's not smooth sailing though. There's like, totally. Every day is a battle and hurdles, and some people aren't built for that. They can't be constantly uncomfortable, you know.
Oh wow, the fact that you mentioned that, like being constantly uncomfortable, because if you're always pushing yourself, there's no way you're gonna rest. Yeah. But this is interesting. So I don't know if you intentionally didn't want to say what that moment was that you achieved, but I don't know, perhaps you want to share it.
I guess one was like, I used to be skinny, super thin, right? In high school I was 5'11", 3/4, by the way, with shoes. I'm 6 feet, damn it. And I literally weighed 140. I was just lean, like 140. I was like, man. And then I remember I got really into weightlifting because I always loved physiques as far as just the aesthetic goes, and also what you can do with it and everything. I remember, like, because right now I'm about 165, but I remember I got all the way up to like 185 just from reading Arnold's Encyclopedia of Modern Bodybuilding. And I remember looking in the mirror one day. I was like, holy shit, like I have the body now. Like that body I thought was like so cool as a child. Like I have that now. And I'm like, you know, and then I remembered that was right. I was like, well, if I did that, what else can I do? Wow. You know? And I'll give another quick example, Melvin. It's like, I remember I dated this girl when I was in junior high, and she was this cute little Chinese chick, right? And like, and I, you know, and like, well, I'm Chinese too, right? So I remember being like, this sounds bad what I'm about to say, but like many dudes like love like a curvy blonde girl, right? You know, it just is what it is, right? But I remember in my brain, I was like, I'm gonna date the cute Chinese girl because I'm like, I can never get the hot blonde girl, like you know. And then I was like, so then I remember I would interact with hot blonde girls like in my school, just like right away. I was already like, oh, they're just my buddy or someone I say hi to. Like it can never be a love interest or whatever. So I end up, but it's not that the Chinese girl wasn't hot either. Like she was pretty hot, you know what I'm saying? But to me, like the hot blonde girl was like just like a smoke show dynamite, you know. So, but I remember when I started putting on the muscle, it was weird. One day I was at a YMCA, and then this girl ended up being one of my girlfriends in high school. Like she just came up to me and was always in my zone, like just and I was, oh hey, like I was so oblivious. And then one day like her friend was like, yo, she likes you. And I remember being like, her? Like she's a hot blonde girl, you know, like, and I was like, in my brain, I was like, oh, and then all of a sudden I was like,
oh my goodness.
And I was like, holy shit, like now I tracked it in. Like, I mean, I don't even know if it's because of the body or it's because of that alpha attitude that comes with it naturally. You get all this confidence, right? Because all of a sudden you're not afraid of another dude, or you think you could take him. And then so next thing you know, you want to speak your mind because you're no longer intimidated. Like, and then that was another ding, like, holy fuck, like you can do anything. You just gotta like aim big and go for it. It's fucking hard.
This is so interesting because you like it was like a mental shift for you, because it's no longer just like, oh, that's for someone else to do, but this is what I can do.
I used to think that I'm the background character in someone else's movie. That's how I used to like exist, and that's such a like, I hate to say it, but like bitch mentality, you know. And then as I started like feel like loving myself more, gaining confidence, visualizing like things being awesome that can happen, like seeing it in my head, like all of a sudden I'm like, wait, I'm the main character in my movie. Now, if I'm the main character, like I'm the main character, like I'm the most, I should have all the skills and glory and this, and I'm the most interesting. I should be the most interesting person in my realm. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so it's like, and then I started having that approach, and then I mean that's what the balls it took to like become an entrepreneur, and like with nothing start a business not backed by anyone, like a podcast bar, an original idea, convincing someone to, you know, whatever, like, you know, like convincing the bank to believe in this and, you know, like fund it, and like like just and then the learning curve, like all that, like so many people are like, oh, I can never do that because I'm not the guy, right? But I'm like, yeah, like, you know,
That's wow, this is so crazy.
so
Like
it's an alpha male mentality. I don't use male, but it's an alpha like mentality.
like
if
no
you will.
longer like you don't see yourself as just like just simply just existing for the sake of it, but now you're like taking initiative and
Yeah,
taking ownership of like
I feel
of your
like
dreams.
my mission is to be my best evolved self constantly, and I think that will affect the world in a positive way because someone else will pick up on that, just like I picked up on someone else doing that, right? Like like all the people I look up to. Oh, excuse me. Woo. Scratchy throat. Why, Melvin? Like, what long-term goals do you have? Do you have like a big vision?
Yeah, I mean, I totally do. And that's why like I love asking questions because I feel like sometimes when I talk a lot, like I once heard someone tell me it was the person said like when you talk too much about like your dreams, you almost start to lose the passion for it. And I was like, oh, that's silly. Like that would never happen to me. But then I realized like when I started talking a lot, I stopped doing and I started like people were like, oh yeah, of course you can do that. And that started to like satisfy me. Like people being like, oh, I know you can do that. So then I wouldn't even try because I kind of had that validation. And that was when I realized, wait a minute, that guy who told me this is kind of right. So now when I think about my long-term goals, I think about things that I'm currently like working on towards like right now, not necessarily this whole vision so people can applaud me. So when I think about my long-term goals, I'm thinking about who do I want to be and how do I want to impact the people around me.
Yeah.
And like right now I'm doing that with Jam and being able to connect people who otherwise won't be connected.
But you also like right now it's awesome what you're doing that is at this exact time at 21 because you may not even fully know what your mission is until, you know, like you might have a general idea, but it's like some people who become famous as an actor when they're 60 because it took 60 years of life experience to like create that acting on screen where you're like, wow, like, you know, like the guy probably couldn't have done it when he's 30, 40 and he had to go through the trauma of, you know, getting a divorce and losing his kids and like, you know, losing all his money or whatever and rebounding from that and like losing his faith in God to getting his faith back to like, you know, like, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh wow, like I know my mission now. It's to make hardcore dramatic films and express myself that way so people can, you know, like see that there's like this message to, you know, like I don't know, right? So it's like it's not something that people I think can just decide if it's not become painfully obvious.
That's
I think
so true.
So I think people have to figure out what they like to do. They have to find a way to do it all the time, and they have to find a way to make money doing it. Like those three things. Yeah, I think translates.
That's so true.
Yeah.
And I would agree with you too. I feel like it, especially for me, my goal with entrepreneurship is all about like, how can I help people? And right now I'm doing that with Jam. But when I think about like, where do I want to be at the very end of my life and looking back, actually entrepreneurship and starting a business is just a means to getting to where like I'm going to get. And that's to be able to speak and to inspire people with stories and travel the world and do that. That's actually really what I want to do.
So you want to be a motivational speaker or like just a motivational figure?
And when you say it like that, I want to be in a position where like my whole life story is like inspires others and it like sometimes when you hear people's stories or you watch certain movies and you're like, oh wow, like that really encouraged me. That's where I want to be at the very end of it. So entrepreneurship is just like a way of getting there, but I could also do it through different ways. And at first I wanted to do it because I was a pilot. And then I was like, okay, maybe I'll do it as a coder developer. And now it's like, okay, I can utilize it with business. And perhaps maybe in the next coming years, there will be another opportunity to.
Do you hold on, I have this question in my head that was let me sort through it again. Do you feel like in order to inspire others though, you have to go through and come back from hardships that most people will not have gone through, you know what I mean? Because how do people inspire unless they have overcome something crazy, right?
100%. I think you have to go through it. and it's very easy to like just like talk and just like relate with someone. It's like, oh yeah, you've been through that. Oh yeah, it's probably hard. But when you hear it from somebody who actually like went through it, then you start to relate more. So like just hearing you talk about like taking big risks and going from someone who saw himself as like a background character to being the main guy, like when you talk to people who still see themselves as background characters, you become an inspiration because they're like, oh wait a minute, like you were actually there, like you understand where I am. And I think that's part of being an inspiration, is understanding where the people are and knowing how to lead them from where they are to somewhere better. And you're doing that already. So like, I mean, it's so interesting.
It's I mean, it's a never ending job though, right? Like, like, I mean, yes. I mean, yeah, I get what you're saying. But I'm trying to think right now, because I don't know if like, if this is the path that you want to inspire too many people on. And because it's not, how can I put it? It's not peaceful. You know what I mean? But that's not what I want, you know? Like I, you know, like deep down I have like a warrior spirit, I guess. I know, like I would rather have like battle than boredom. You know?
Wow.
So yeah, like I would rather be, yeah, but it's not for everyone, because I know so many people that like the stress of it all, you know, like of knowing, oh my God, I gotta make decisions for myself. Like I have to be the guy to like lead this thing. Like they're so used to wanting to follow someone. Like they know where they're going, so they'll do all the heavy lifting. Like to be the guy to do the heavy lifting psychologically, it's like it's not for everyone, because like you kind of make peace with like you never get to like really like sleep well, you know, if you will.
But now that you say that, I'm curious to hear your thoughts. Like, do you ever feel like now that you're in that position to lead other people, do you sometimes like get scared of like, oh my gosh, what if I mess up, and what if I make the wrong mistake, and that also impacts the people following me? Like, how do you navigate those situations?
I mean, I think I'm giving, like, I mean, you're flattering me. Like, it's like I'm pretty, I mean, I'm nowhere near spectacular. Like, I mean, but I want to be. I don't know, like as a, for instance, like people don't understand, like when I come to this, like today, I'm like, hey, how do we get more people to come to Cax Bar and podcast and have a good time? You know, you know, and I don't know, like rent a podcast studio, or grab drinks, or like, you know, buy our merch, or, you know, like how do we, you know, it's like, people don't realize, like, when I'm doing that, I'm not thinking necessarily about myself and like, oh, one step closer to making money. I'm literally I'm doing this because I know my employees need to get paid. And like, you know, like, it's like, if I don't take this serious, then, you know, like, then, you know, this place, then less and less people know about this place. And then all of a sudden, like, out of nowhere, there's, you know, like someone doesn't have a job. And then, you know, like, it's like, yeah, like I don't really, it's like I think about myself, but not as much as you would think. Like it, like the mission also is pretty apparent what I need to do. You know what I mean? Like my business partner, for instance, Cass, like he has a 2-year-old daughter. Like, so like he's like his like, it's like his entire world changed when he had his kid, right? Like it's like he's said many times, like it's not about me anymore. Like everything I do has to be, you know, make sure I can provide.
Wow.
You know, so yeah, it makes complete sense, you know, and subconsciously I think that's what I'm doing too, because I know that like there's some people counting on you at all times, you know. So yeah, so I don't know if I answered your question, man. There's a bit of a long.
No, I'm let me spit out what I heard. So you're saying that as a leader, like when you make these decisions of like how to grow your business, you're not just thinking about it of like your return, but you're also thinking about it as, I'm not only providing for myself, but I'm also providing for the people helping me with this mission. So then in a way, when you lead, you're also like serving the people who are helping you, because you're serving them by, you know, like doing your marketing well, or being organized well, because those things allow for growth, and that growth allows the employees to be employed.
Yeah.
And
make more tips, have more hours, you know, more security.
That's
you know, but it is tough though. I mean, because
Mhm.
right now I feel like it is wild out there economically. You know, it's like, yeah. So, and I don't know, but at the same time, hold on, I had a train of thought. I lost my train of thought actually. I'm trying to think. There was some kind of serious point that I could relate to on that I want to
No,
relay here.
but maybe let me jump in, and maybe that could help.
Mhm.
I'm also curious too, like, what are some of the biggest challenges that you've had to overcome in your journey so far, and like, how did you handle that
Oh
and
man,
also grow?
there's so many, man. There's so many.
Really?
Oh dude, like I mean, I'm 17 years older than you. Like, like when I compare myself to 21 to now, the amount of stuff that I went through. Now other people might say like, oh, I went through that too. That was nothing. It's like, okay, fine. It was nothing to you, but I mean, we're all different, right? You know what I mean? Like, cause at the end of the day, it's just you against your own potential, right? It's like, when you were a little kid, you probably couldn't bench 135. You physically couldn't do it, right? You know what I mean? And then and then by the time you're a man, you can bench 225. Now because you physically can do it.
Yeah.
You know, so with that analogy, it's like the worst thing that's ever happened to you is the worst thing that's ever happened to you, right? So every day in a way I'm going through that now. You know, because like every stage of challenges and growing is difficult, and you have to overcome it, you know. Wow. Because you have no choice otherwise.
You really don't have a choice.
Really don't have a choice, man. You know,
it's only one way out, and is if you're successful through it.
You know, there's a funny thing. Let me ask you this then. Like,
Okay.
this is a very existential question, but if the whole point is you come into existence and then you're just trying not to hurt, as in, I'm hungry, that's a form of hurt. Man, I'm tired, and that's a form of hurt. Like, it's like you're trying not to be, you know, like you want to sleep, you want to eat, you want to like, but then you're doing all that, and there's pleasure senses and like, you know, from food, and you got reward systems set in place. Like, oh, if I hunt and then I get the food and I feel good, I accomplished something. But if the cycle is just to repeat that and create another kid, and they create a kid just so they can take care of you when you're older, because you can't take care of yourself anymore, and you're going to be hurt more often without that. But then you die. It's like would you, if you were like a almighty entity, like, would you choose existence? Or would you be like, man, there's a whole lot of nothing to go back to the whole lot of nothing? You know what I mean? Like,
you know, it's so interesting, and one of my thoughts is, let's say it was like that, and you start off with like just try not to hurt. Then in that way, you have an equal choice to enjoy every moment of try not to hurt, or you have a choice to just like, I don't know, just like grunt through it all and not be happy through it all. And in that same way, like when we go through life, like, and we know that ultimately will end. That's the one thing that's guaranteed. It ultimately will end. You kind of have a choice to say, well, I could either make the most of this, or I can just kind of just be a background character, like you said. And for me, when I think about my life, like, it's going to end at one point, but what do I want to do with the time that I'm going through right now? And I always have that choice of like, yeah, I could be a background character. I like the way you put it, so I'll just keep going with that.
Yeah.
Or I could try and make as much impact as I can. And that's the choice I always like to make. So, but what are your thoughts? Like, I'm curious what brought about the question.
Just because life is so hard sometimes. And although like I'm on my mission, it's like it is hard sometimes. You know what I mean? Like because like some weeks all you take is L's, right? Like you're just like like I don't know, like it's that, you know, that happened and this happened and like and that, and then yeah, and but then you're like, hey, but this will pay off because I know I'll grow into who I want to become, or if I'm not already there in some variation. But I'll give you an example. Like my dad, I had a conversation with him recently, and my dad's almost 70, and he and like I remember him saying, he's like, man, I have a completely different approach now to life, because in theory, he's like in theory, say I live to 85, like it's 15 years left. Like that's not like a load of fucking time, you know what I mean? Like, or if he lives to 90, fine, you have 20 years left. you know, but he's like, I'll still learn stuff, but for the most part, he's like, I just want no like stress. So yeah, so he's at a point now where he just wants to like, because he's still working, right? So he's like, I just clock in, do my thing, I clock out. I no longer think about doing extra or like extra hours or whatever.
No.
And then he's like, and then he concentrates on being grandpa because like he loves the grandkids, right? And I'm sitting there like, man, but that's not the mentality you should have. Like, you know, that's what I was thinking in my head, because I was like, look at freaking Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone. Like they're 70 and they're still like creating a new mission every day or whatever. Now I'm not talking bad about my dad. I'm just saying because he used to be like me. He went from being an immigrant to putting 3 kids through university and being able to afford like homes, cars. And my dad was an insane soccer player too.
Wow.
Yeah, like so he was a very good athlete. You know, but I get what he's saying, where he's like he's at a point now where I just want to clock in, clock out, hang out with your mom, hang out with the grandkids. Like I don't need to like, you know, unless I have to, I don't need to put in extra hours anymore, because you know, like, because he's at a point in his life where there's only so much time left. I got to focus on joy now, like enjoying.
You know, that's so interesting you mentioned, you know, that. Like I was just about to say, like the change in values, like what he values now, especially now knowing that, you know, he has less time now than he did back, you know, back when he first started. And that's so interesting. And it's something that like we also have to think about too, because we're not there yet. But there's going to be a point in time where you're really going to have to choose what you really want to focus on. And sometimes, like you said, some people choose to continue to stay on that track and continue to, you know, work on themselves and continue to grow. And sometimes other people choose to sacrifice their own life to raise someone else. So like your business partner being able to raise his daughter. And perhaps maybe everybody has their own values and goals. And when I think about mine, like when I get to that point in life where I can just like rest, I think one of my values is going to be, well, how can I impact the lives of other people positively? Like whether they're working for me or whether it's just someone I pass on the street. And like, I think it all really depends on like what you really want, because that changes a lot because when you're in that perspective where like death is almost imminent, you start to focus on what really matters to you and less about what you could do. But what do you think?
Man, that's a broad and tricky existential question. I like it though. I like it. It's making me think a lot, in a good way. In a good way. I don't know. Well, let me reverse ask you. Do you think what's more important if you had to choose? You can't have both.
Okay.
Is it having fun and like, is it being happy, having fun? Right? Is it happy, having fun, like that? Like combine those, happy, having fun, or is it like respecting the hell out of yourself?
Oh wow, those aren't even opposites. Those are like on like a coordinate. They're like at different points.
No, but like which one do you think should take precedence?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I do everything to work hard so I can have fun, or is it like I do everything to work hard so I can see myself grow? You know what I mean? Like, you know, like that one's tricky because I don't ever want to have a feeling of like I know a measure of a man per se, using a classic term here. It's like, it's not measured as in, okay, this guy's more money, this guy can bench press. Because it's literally like, those aren't how the categories mix and match, you know, like Michael Jordan might be the best basketball player of all time, but he might be the worst dancer of all time or something, right? You know what I mean? Like, so it's like, so you can't compare that, but it's like, but you want to know you're the best version that you are to like yourself, because I don't think you could live any other way, because you would just be like, you'd be like I'll give you an example. It'd be like if some other dude came up and stole your girl, right? It's like, and then she like actually is like, you know what, I'm gonna leave you, I'm gonna be with him because he's just way more ambitious. I find him physically better. He has less weaknesses. He's like, you know, he makes more money, you know, he's like, rattle off all this, you know, like, you know, then you're gonna sit there and like, oh, like like this dude dominated me just by being himself. He like, he already took the one thing I really, really wanted or whatever. Like, so it's like, but if you're always getting after it and that's the way you live, if life takes things from you, you can sleep at night. That's the kind of peace you will have. You'll have it the right way, because you can sleep. Like that would suck if we're all like, oh, we're just gonna keep playing while like, the grown-ups will figure everything out. Like, it's like,
Oh wow. When you say it like that, that's
Yeah.
very interesting.
Yeah, Melvin. Yeah, no, sorry if you came on the pod too. We talked about Jam Social and everything, and like I'm gonna put it on the show notes there, by the way, for people who want to get involved in the next events and things like that. It's just the way this conversation unfolded. No, got it kind of existentially,
Yeah.
in a weird way. But hold on, let me get this final topic in, because we have to wind down here. But so you're at the end of the day, like you want to inspire people, but you it sounds like you don't have the same mentality as me then, as I'm not saying that that's good nor bad. I'm just saying because to you it's important to have friends,
as you say that, like,
so it's almost like you choose happy and fun over maybe continuous self-growth. I don't even know, but can I really even say it like that? Because you are growing. Like you putting on that social app is you growing, right? Yeah. So
yeah, totally. Here's what I think it is. I think that for my business, I help people make friends, and I often find myself not actually being a part of the event because I'm trying to run it. And it was apparent to me because when we did our second event, someone came in and they recognized my brother because my brother helps me out, and they were like saying hi to him, and then they forgot my name, and I was like, oh, okay, well, it is what it is. So I would say that I'm focused on growing, especially in this entrepreneurship way, like always being able to, support the people helping me. Like I always like to help people help me. And when it comes to business, but when it comes to having fun, I think that having fun shouldn't come at the expense of growth. And I think that in the past, when I first started out business, having fun came at the expense of growth. I was more concerned with having fun, but now as I've gone through some hard stuff with like the business almost failing at one point, and to my friend actually leaving the business, that really like motivated me, and I realized, okay, this isn't just fun and games anymore. I actually have to I have to keep growing this. Otherwise I may not be doing this too long. So yeah, to answer your question, I would agree with you that I think growth is really important, but it should never, like, having fun should never come at the I hope I said that right. But yeah, I hope that came out the right way. I want to grow, but I'm willing to sacrifice fun things to grow.
You want to sacrifice fun things to grow. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe at the end of the day, it's all about balance, I guess. I mean, maybe because I think that's why the people invented that the way a week works is like, that's why there's a weekends. You know what I mean? Like you're just supposed to give her 5 days and then enjoy. I don't know, but like. Yeah, I don't know. It's a tricky subject matter, So I'm not quite sure.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Okay, Melvin. I'm going to wind this down here. Everyone, Melvin's information will be in the show notes here. Thanks for the conversation, man. Definitely a lot of food for thought.
Definitely.
Maybe I'm living my life all wrong. Yeah, I don't know. But you seem to be like, I can see you're passionate about what you're doing.
Totally.
Which is so important. Because some people are just not passionate about what they're doing. They're just doing it for the sake of doing it, but they're not passionate. Makes all the difference. Anything else you want to add or anything before we?
Yeah, totally. So we do these jam socials every other Monday here in Calgary, and I'm excited because in the fall we're going to be coming over to Edmonton, so it's going to be really nice to see it there.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Well, congrats that it's kind of like grown so much that, it's like venturing off to another city. So yeah, that's amazing. I mean, hopefully one day we can open up multiple caxes like throughout the country or something,
That'd be cool.
Have each podcast bar have like a head guy that's for the podcasting, and then get us to do like collabs or something like that.
That would be sick.
Yeah.
Wow, it's really cool. Well,
Yeah.
I appreciate you helping with the conversation too as well.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. Yeah, no, you're a smart kid, and obviously, I'm very confident whatever you end up doing, you're gonna kill it, and I'm pretty sure the Jam socials are just gonna keep on growing here, you know, because like it is a brilliant idea, man. Like it's an alternative too to just making fake friends, if you will, because everyone there's for the right reason. They want to make friends, so they're gonna look for it, right? You know, and who knows, maybe you'll end up being Cupid and pair up so many people, something like that.
Yo, that would be cool. You know, when we first started out Jam, we always said that if someone got married because of our app, we would pay for the wedding. So, you know, startup wise, financially wise, I don't know if we can do that just yet, but that in the future, if someone does get married because of our events, then we'll be there.
Yes.
We'll support you as the best man.
Sweet. I'm sure they'll be stoked. All right. Okay. Yep. Bye, everyone.
Take care.